Welcome back, class of 2025. Welcome to your junior year. I'm Miss Eberhart-Bliss. I'm your administrator this year, and I look forward to working with you and supporting you throughout this really important year. I always say that it's either kindergarten or 11th grade. Those are the two grade levels I think are the hardest throughout your education, because there's a lot of things happening this year that you'll make a lot of decisions about. So we're here to support you. I got really important information to share with you through this video, so stay tuned in. Lots of details and people I want to introduce you to make sure you're aware of some of these resources that can support you here this year. If you want to follow along in this presentation and access some of the links later, go ahead and scan that QR code so that way you can have access to these slides. All right, let's get started. First, we're going to start with what this week's going to be like, okay? So if you remember the past 2 years, we've always run a different schedule for the first 2 days of school. So you'll have almost like block scheduling for Monday and Tuesday. So you're starting right now in homeroom. You saw your video from Ms. Thomas. Now you're watching me. And then there's some more information that your homeroom teacher is going to share with you. And you're going to be like information overload. Then you have 3 periods today. Okay, so you have period 1 after this, then you have a good lunch break for 50 minutes, period 4, and then period 6 to close out the day. Tomorrow, you will come back to homeroom for a shortened time because there's some paperwork and things like that that may need to be returned or distributed. Then you'll have periods 2 and 3, lunch, and then 7 and 8 to end the day. Now, notice something a little different. You'll see that we end the day at 2:25. But that's because we want to dismiss you 5 minutes earlier than normal for buses and routines. You know, we're just starting to get back into this. So want to give a little extra time for people trying to find buses or perhaps their ride home after school. The regular bell schedule here is going to start on Wednesday. So days 3 to 5, which is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we will be on our regular bell schedule. No Cougars Connect or anything like that. It's just straight 1 through 8. Okay, so each day will be the same, and it'll get easier to get into that pattern. Okay, all right, let's move on. Now we're going to get into QO's mission and vision. So we'll start with the vision. All students are connected to QO. They have the support they need to lead successful personal lives and your professional lives. So we're here for you in 2 ways. Academically, we've got your backs, but we've also got your backs socially and emotionally. We're here for you in all of those ways too. In addition, you can see what our mission is. So we're looking to have your success created through 4 different conditions. And you can see them there on your screen. The respect, the relationships, the equity piece, and then your growth. That social emotional focus is there, as well as that restorative justice, focusing on and reflecting our anti-bias, anti-racist, and inclusive lens here at QO. So we are committed here at QO. All the staff members, your administration, everyone who works here is committed to creating these conditions for all students to experience excellence here. So let's check out who's who. So you'll see my face on the screen, probably twice, maybe 3 times, because we have the other photo that I might be cutting off depending on how this appears in the recording. But you know us all, but there's a couple of new faces you're like, I don't know who those people are. But this is the administrative team. So you have Miss Thomas, Mr. Yarbrough is the senior principal this year. I'm with you in 11th grade. Then we have Miss Jackson, who's in 10th grade with administrator for A to Q. Miss Ashman is new here to QO. She's working with the last names R to Z in 9th and 10th grade. You remember Miss Lee, she's here with us. She's working with 9th grade, last names A to Q. And then we have a new school business administrator, so all those financial things, Mr. Santos. So we have our counselors. There's no changes in your counseling team except one big one, which is your resource counselor. So Miss Conter is the new resource counselor, so she's head of the counseling department. Everyone else is back from the counseling team. And you'll notice that depending on whether I'll go back actually, because that's for the 12th graders, but your counseling team is separated by your last names, right? By now, you should have met with your counselor. If not once, twice, a dozen times, who knows, maybe depending on what your needs are. But please, these are a massive resource for you this year as you ponder what's next after high school, college, a trade school, the military, workforce, whatever it is. These people are here to help you. So please take note of who your counselor is this year. And you got me. You can come see me too. All right, we'll move forward past that 12th grade. So scheduling changes. So you have your schedule, or you'll be getting it if you haven't gotten it yet, or look on Student View, right? If any of these things are wrong with your schedule, okay, you're going to go down to counseling today during that exact period that the problem is in. So if you have a period on your schedule, there's no class there. Period 3 is just blank. Then during period 3, go down to counseling, okay? If you have 2 of the same classes, like say you have 2 Honors English 11 classes on your schedule, that's a problem. You want to go down to counseling during one of those 2 periods. Or if you have 2 of the same periods on your schedule, for some weird reason, like if you have 2 classes during period 2, say you have Honors English 11 and you have a health and PE class, the same period, that's an issue we have to resolve. So you would go down during that class period. If you're on the wrong level, so say again, you should be in Honors English 11 or AP Language and Composition. Say you're looking at your schedule and it says Honors English 9. Well, that's a huge problem. You'd want to go down during that period to counseling. If you're missing a core class as an 11th grader, this is super important because you need these credits. You're earning so many credits this year that you must have to graduate on time. So please check that you have an English class, a math class, a science class, and a social studies or a history class on your schedule. If you're missing one, again, you're going to want to go down to counseling. And if you've already earned credit for a class that's on your schedule, like you took that, you have it, why is it there? Go down to counseling during that period that it's scheduled for, okay? Those are the only reasons to visit counseling this week, okay? If you want a different teacher because you like that person better than somebody else, sorry, no change. If you're like, oh, I'm so sleepy in the morning, I don't want my math class first period. No, that's how it is. So you can't change a period for a class either. Okay, and right now we're not changing electives because we're focusing on those issues that I mentioned first. Okay. All right. Other resources outside of counseling you may be familiar with, and if you're not, this is sort of new since we've been through the pandemic. So we have Miss Fernandez, who's our social worker. We also have a Bridge to Wellness team. Now, if you remember Miss Karina took another role outside of the school setting. So we're really excited for her to go and explore that passion of hers, but we're waiting to see who's going to be filling in for that position. But we still have Miss Bears and Miss Medina with the Bridge to Wellness team. They're in the yellow hallway, 2nd floor. And of course, we have our well-being program here. If you're interested in getting more involved, there's a Cougars Minds Matter Club that focuses on student mental well-being. And there's their Insta and their Twitter or X, whatever we're calling it these days. And then there's Wellness Wednesdays. Every Wednesday, 7:30 and 11:30, there's a 10-minute guided meditation in the Wellness Center, which is in the cafeteria. You're entering the cafeteria, back left. All right, let's move along. So some important dates coming up. Again, my video might be over this date, but August 31st. Which is this Thursday, is back to school night. It is totally different. It's not the same. We encourage you to come to back to school night with your family. Scan that QR code. You can see more information, but it's like an open house or a fair night where your parents or your guardians, your caregivers aren't following your schedule. They're actually going to go to wherever they want to learn more information about a particular subject, about a particular opportunity, which is super important why you should also attend, because that's a chance for you to also explore some of these other things as, again, your junior year, you want to make sure you're tapping into courses and programs that interest you to graduate high school, but also beyond. So back to school night, make sure you're marking your calendar 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. here at QO. And then we have homecoming. It's on October 7th, and the theme is Through the Ages. So you think about the different decades and different style and outfits and stuff. You can have a lot of fun there thinking about that. All right, let's look through. I'm going to take a breath. Everybody take a breath. So we're going to get into some really important information to make sure you're in line with our policies here at QO and at MCPS and some of the procedures to have a successful junior year. All right, so attendance and tardy. You got to be here on time. We have a 7:45 start time. That's when you should be sitting in period 1, not over at Dunkin' or not just strolling down the street. Okay, sure, it happens once in a while, but not every day. Okay, be here on time. Get invested in your junior year and making it a success. First 10 minutes of the period, you will just go directly to class. So if you get here for some reason at 7:50, the bus was late, you're here at 7:50, you're just going to check in, go to class. Okay, the teacher will mark tardy, unexcused. Okay, if after the first 10 minutes of the first period, so say you get here at 8, you have to go through the welcome center and you'll sign in with security with your MCPS ID number or your ID card. Okay, but first 10 minutes, we just want you to get to class. Get there, get in the instruction that you should be hearing. But if it's after the 10 minutes, you will check in. All right. If you arrive late and you have a note, like there's a reason you were 5-10 minutes late, whatever it may be, you can go submit that to Miss Bradley. Now, her office is in the same place as last year, that hallway back on the second floor that's near the main office by the gymnasium. So you could just go submit your note and get your absence excused if your parent has a reason that you were late. And then that'll be changed. So if your teacher marked you tardy, unexcused, once you submit your note, that will go be changed by Miss Bradley. All right, massive update here, okay? If you're absent every day for 2 weeks or 10 consecutive school days, you are automatically withdrawn from high school. Now, again, I'll say it again, 10 unexcused consecutive days. So there's some different, there's some things there that might be like, what? But if you have an illness, an injury, those types of things, well, those would be excused absences. We're looking at where you're unexcused, you're just not showing up. And we have other people who may be waiting to be enrolled at our school. And so we will be automatically having to withdraw students to get 10 unexcused consecutive days. Questions about that? Feel free to talk to me. It's new. Once the late bell rings, again, students who don't have a pass, you are tardy unexcused. So if you are late to third period and don't have a pass, you're tardy unexcused. And if you do have a pass, you're tardy excused. It's still recorded as a tardy because you're still late to the class. All right, hall passes. Please make sure you are using a hall pass at all times from the classroom you're in. You shouldn't be in the hall at all without one, okay? Unless there's an issue or an emergency, right? No passes are allowed, so teachers know this. No passes the first 10 minutes, no passes the last 10. Why? Well, the first 10 minutes, the teacher's framing the learning, giving directions, getting resources, getting everything set up. So they need everybody to be focused in there. And then the last 10 minutes, they're reviewing everything, checking for understanding, maybe collecting information, resources, etc. from you. So first 10, last 10, no hall passes. Okay. Again, unless there's like an emergency or a situation, of course you would get you one. All right, lunch. Hooray! You're allowed to leave campus for lunch. You have to have your valid QO ID card. Now, you might have one from last year, but we will have in September your ID cards being taken. Your picture for your yearbook and your ID will happen. So use Synergy. That can be easy for us leaving for lunch. And you remember, it's not a right to leave campus. Okay, it's a privilege, and that can be taken away if you're doing things that you shouldn't be. And we will hold you accountable to that. So remember, you're still a QO student. All the MCPS rules apply. You have to make sure that you're just going out, getting some food, getting a drink from the gas station, whatever, and you're coming back. Make sure you're using the crosswalks. Okay, when you're exiting property, please make sure you're returning on time. And make sure that you are not accessing any cars or leaving campus in a car without authorization. Now, if you have a half-day schedule for some reason, or there's a doctor's appointment where you would sign out, okay, if you have a doctor's appointment, you would sign out with Miss Bradley, and you would have that authorization to show. It's probably going to be me down there by the parking lot, and you would be able to show that to me. Okay. All right, so that's lunch. If you violate the lunch policy, so you're allowed to go. So, but if you're over, if you're doing things that you shouldn't, that's where, like, not using a crosswalk, you're causing disruptions perhaps across the street, and we get phone calls. Okay, here's some of the violations of what could have happened. Okay, sure. First time we're like, whoa, what are you doing? Stop that. Like, this is a reminder about the rules. We'll document we've talked to you. Second time, this time we're like, all right, hey, we warned you before, no more. We talk to your parent as well. If you do it the third time, well, then we got to like talk more about this, like what is going on. Okay, so you will have a restorative lunch tutoring session that you must attend. And of course, that's what I mean. We'll talk more through it. Like, why are you continuing to do this? And the last violation could mean you lose open lunch entirely. We've given you 3 shots already, and now you're doing it again. So you would have your open lunch revoked potentially. You could have a parking pass revoked. Okay, and then again, MCBS Code of Conduct, there could be additional penalties depending on what you're doing. It's so cool that you get to leave for lunch. Please don't abuse those privileges. Go get something to eat that you want, a drink, whatever. Come back on time. Everything's great. All right. Safety. So there's a QR code here. You can scan it. If you see something, say something. Know our plan and procedures for safety. Tomorrow in homeroom, you'll go over a little bit about this with fire drills, shelters, and lockdowns. We run through our drills. Don't prop open any doors. Please don't do it. We patrol the building. Security has often complained that students are propping doors open or opening doors for students. Okay, please don't do that. That's a safety concern. Enter through the main entrance. Okay. Or through the Cougar wing if it's between classes, right? Otherwise, it's locked. You have to come in through the main doors. Okay. There's some crisis center hotline there, mental health services, and of course, I think the QR code is the MCBS mental health app that students designed. So check that out. Okay. I swear it's not going to be too much longer. Stay with me. If you tuned out, like, give yourself a little shimmy shake. Get back in it. We're almost to the end. So testing and graduation requirements. All right, you're a junior now, grade 11. What we got going on? So your graduation requirements, again, if you access this presentation, you can see that for the class of 2025, okay, you would want to click and find what your graduation requirements are. Counselor's always the person to talk to about those things. AP exams. If you're an AP student, they're free this year. All the AP exams are free. It's outstanding. There's no reason really not to try and take that test and see what you can do. Mr. Campbell, he's an English composition assistant. He's the AP coordinator this year. Okay, so you won't be hearing from Mr. Striegel anymore about AP exams. It'll be Mr. Campbell. So again, the biggest change I would say is that the exams are free. You don't have to pay for them. That's massive. It's like $100 an exam. This is the schedule for 2024, first 2 weeks of May, or when AP exams are taken. There's a Twitter account, or X, if you want to follow Mr. Campbell's tweets. And again, there's a resource there for the exam calendar if you want to look at that more closely. All right, testing. So SAT school days are jam. That's not till March. You should have everything on the, I guess it's on the left side of your screen. Yeah, should be, for what you've already completed. Now, if you're looking at one of those tests, you're like, I don't know if I did that MCAP algebra thing. We will fact check it. We'll make sure that we have you up to date with that. If you're missing any MCAP, bio, NSL, algebra, or English, you have to have those to graduate. So we'll hunt you down and we'll get you tested this year, so you don't have to worry about it. All right. So SAT school day, a lot more about that. That's free as well. That's in March. So you have a free opportunity to take the SAT test. All right. That's it. Told you I was almost done. So I wish you the best junior year. Please come find me, or I'll come find you if I need to. And if you need any assistance this year with anything, I'm happy to help. Come find me in the main office. I'll be outside at lunch near the tennis courts. I wish you the best year. Have a great one.